Great Scott, Sierra! Have you seen what's going on? Politics, pandemic.
I know. This is heavy.
Is it though? From my perspective, everything seems to be functioning okay within our circle. Why is that?
I think we need to go back to explain the future.
Alright, let me just go grab my flux capacitor. Throughout the Wills and Ways series on our Path and Posture podcast, Brittany and I have been exploring how art and literature add value to survival. In this last episode of the series, we look into seasons that Harmony Roads has been through and how art and literature brought us to where we are as a family and a ministry today. Our last guest just happens to be ourselves, circa the early 2000s, and under our former name, Beyond the Veil. Hi, thanks for joining us on Path and Posture. I'm your host, Mariah Turner, and with me tonight is my entire family. We have Brittany Turner, Sierra Turner, Stephanie Turner, our mother, and Richard Turner in the background, way over there, away from the microphone, relaxing on the couch. But he'll be in here in just a minute. So this is a very unique podcast because we are kind of traveling back in time to explain where we are today. I think it will be very eye-opening for some of our listeners who think, who are these people? And
I know.
Why am I listening to this podcast?
And
so often?
it's not just where we are today, but why we are today.
Yes.
You know, you think about 2020 and you think about how everybody's been trying to find reasons for survival and reasons what's the purpose in 2020, and we are at the end of this year. I can't believe it.
If anything, the isolation that people have experienced this year, I don't know, hands up, has it given you time to reflect, to think back on
Definitely.
How did I get here? How did we get here?
Definitely.
Yeah. So, that's a gift in and of itself, to think back on this year. And
Mariah, we started this podcast not knowing that we would go into COVID.
One of our first topics was about COVID. And I was thinking, it's just our first topic.
Yeah.
It's been reoccurring.
It's
every
been
single podcast.
Reoccurring. And it's been amazing seeing how the podcast, because I just wanted to use this, personally, this is Brittany speaking, I just wanted to use this thing as a supplement to what we were kind of embarking on. And it ended up being a leading thing because we were isolated to our homes and everybody was sent home. And so we only had the podcast to do because we couldn't do shows. We couldn't do anything. Yeah. And so the podcast kind of took precedent and we ended up being in 18 different countries. And it was just really amazing just how God has used, approaching December, how he's used our family through this podcast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in just a few months, I feel like it's been just very eye-opening, especially in these last few episodes. It's been very connecting in the sense that we started doing the interviews and talking to different people in our Path and Posture podcast.
Yes.
So it's been a form of just reflection, connection. It's been a huge blessing for us. And we hope it's been a blessing for all of our listeners.
And I approached it because I don't know a lot about podcasting. We kind of started off as just we know nothing.
Flying.
Yeah, we were,
flying.
And we started it just to throw it out there. And I was kind of catching the wind that everybody was using Zoom as, and so I was like, let's have a couple guests on, and it's exactly like what they use. And so it was just really an honor having our guest be with us through Zoom. And thank you, Zoom. This is unpaid
unpaid ad
for you.
And thank you to all of our prior guests.
Yes.
It was a pleasure just getting to know so many people that are after God's heart and after ministry and after music and the arts, which is what we've been kind of focusing on.
In different ways.
Yes. So with the Wills and Ways series, we've been talking about how arts and literature, it adds value to survival. Survival has been one of the themes of 2020. How are we going to get through this? And a lot of people have turned to arts and literature. And so we really this time wanted to discuss arts and literature within our family. And so we made ourselves the guest on this podcast. But like I said, it's circa 2000, right? So let's talk to our yesteryears selves and see what kind of brought us to this point in our family and in our ministry. And so where did you want to start this with, Britt?
I wanted to start with when we talk about the early 2000s, we're really truly talking about our parents. They're the ones that are paying for the instruments, paying for the lessons,
the gas money,
the booking, the time. And so I really honestly wanted to talk about what was instilled in us during that time for us to awake every day of 2020 and realize and remember what our parents invested in 2000, and they were truly, honestly, beyond the veil. And yes, we changed our name in 2014, but that seeing our parents and seeing what they've done for us and what they've invested in the community that they created as a family, I think needed to be recognized. It's the patriarch and the matriarch is really, so I wanted to bring them on.
And so here they are this evening joining us, Rick and Stephanie Turner, mom and dad. And our questions for you guys this evening really center around, how did this all happen? Especially because we're all parents now and we're like, okay, how do we make it happen again? So you guys encouraged music, and dad also, sports. Growing up, we talked about how dad's always like, choose a sport and choose an instrument. That's mom and dad split half and half right there. But we're talking more of the music side tonight. You encouraged us to pursue music, make it one of our passions. And it really already was. We just had to channel it the right way. 3 different girls, 3 different likes, dislikes. We all took different routes when it came to it. What does it look like when you encourage that, when you embrace something that really the world, they're so mathematical, they're so scientific, they really have no place for music and the arts, but we found this year it's what's sustaining us. So how do you encourage that in your children?
Well, I think that a lot of people don't realize that music is mathematical. Most people don't realize that one of the things that happens when someone learns to read music is they open up that same portion of their brain that knows how to do math. And that was one of the things that how we all started, was trying to find a way to help in school. And really, that's how I stumbled upon music for you guys, was trying to help you in school. How could I help you guys be able to do better? The places you were struggling. And honestly, when Brittany first got her opportunity to join the orchestra in 3rd grade, and then I realized that this entire world was opening up, and I saw this opportunity. And you explored that as well. And, we gave you that opportunity, but you made it very clear, Mariah, that you were a percussionist. You were not a violinist.
I tried.
Yes, but you also came home one day and had a drum set sitting in the living room because we saw there was passion.
It was in the living room, but it ended up behind your desk
while
you're working.
It did.
I don't know how you function.
It did.
Wow, you don't have a hearing aid.
I don't have a hearing aid, but sometimes I wonder why.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah.
So, you start off, helping your kids to pursue music, to help them. But in turn, it also helps you.
Yes,
now,
absolutely.
Not necessarily the drum set behind your desk every day, but therapeutically, or even just the relief of seeing your children soar in something. Like, talk to us about what it is to encourage your child in something and to see them succeed in it, and to feel like you've put them on the right path. Like, what's that like?
It really is something that it was hard for me at first to understand, but one thing I think people will appreciate is this saying that people have now: hindsight is 2020, right? Okay, we are living 2020.
Oh, that.
Literally.
Yeah.
But today, where we are today, I have so many people ask me, "How did you do it? How did you make that happen? How did you raise 3 girls?" Okay, how did you raise 3 girls? But then...
Enter Dad's answer there.
Well, let me tell you where it started. No, my focus was on seeing what gifts that God has given each child of ours. And as we focus on their gifts, we would try to feed in that area and teach them that the gifts that God has given you is for you to give the Creator that gift back. It's not to be focused on the self of a person, but is to give God the glory for what gifts he has given you. And so as I started with Brittany and Mariah and Sierra, I would focus on and pay attention to and spend time with and see where they enjoy their time and enjoy their focus more. And being the only jock in the family, I realized that after playing badminton that sports wasn't really for them.
Oh, how dare you, Dad? How dare you?
I didn't realize badminton was a test.
I am a volleyball coach. My dad is
That
not.
was a test. That day in the yard watching you guys try to hit a
No,
bird.
I know.
I can't do anything.
I said, well, Lord, it must be the music.
And it was the music.
I made
It
the
was
tennis
the
team,
music.
but I didn't get to play.
No, but
No. Daddy.
I know. I enjoy watching them play soccer and volleyball and tennis. But what I really enjoyed the most is watching them grow in the music industry. And my hope was just to be able to participate. And so I learned, I didn't play any instruments, so I learned the sound system.
Mhm.
And I learned to work with the vocals of the girls and balance them out, and pretty much felt at home in that area.
And the reason why he feels at home in that area is because his family is actually quite musical.
Yes.
Grandma, his mother, adored the hymn Amazing Grace and has
And
a
gospels.
a line of children and grandchildren who are just fully talented in the gospel and gospel R&B and stuff like that. And Motown, there's just fantastic talent. And so my father did have an ear.
Yes.
Yes, he did have it here.
I learned at a young age that my papa was a Rolling Stone. Just kidding.
And you know what's really unique about the way that you approached music with your children, and not in any kind of selfish way or anything, you made yourselves involved because you guys actually gave us more opportunities by being involved. You drove the bus, you loaded the equipment, you
Yes.
booked the shows. And so it's not just like we signed our kids up for piano and they did really good. We took it a step further. We made it a ministry on the road.
We put our own money and time into
So
it.
what was that like? I feel like that was a very unique thing as a parent to do, is say, okay, well, I'll take it into my hands as well, and we're going to grow this thing.
Yeah. I think
And I just to emphasize, so keep that in mind, but I also want to talk about when we did start, being 2020 in a painful year, how we had started in a painful season, being right after 9/11.
Yeah. 9/11, that was a painful season for sure. Obviously, all of us remember that. But I think that what happened was you guys were still pretty young and you had not really taken off doing anything musically. It was more like, school things and just,
Singing around the house.
yeah, that kind of thing. But at that point, Dad was given an opportunity from some people that he knew at work that they needed to have someone come and sing a couple of Christmas songs and also sing the national anthem for a troop deployment
And that's for the USO?
yeah, for the USO. And so we had that opportunity to do that. And we went there and we saw the effect that it had on the people when you guys got up and shared your hearts, shared your gifts, shared your talents. And we felt like there's purpose in this.
Mhm.
There's reason for this. There's something that you can invest and not expect anything back and be able to feel good about. So that was when we started thinking about it. Now, following closely behind that, Brittany had come home and told me about a teacher that had a brain aneurysm and they didn't know if she was going to make it. And Brittany was very distraught. Wanted to write a song as a gift to her teacher. Write a song? Okay. Well, so we were like, okay. So I was trying to help her do that. So we wrote the song and it kind of came together. And then you guys kind of like put it together and did some harmony. And we started just thinking maybe there's something to this.
Mhm.
So from those small little seeds, we felt like something was starting to grow. And I think that was the point that Dad and I looked at each other and said, okay, we have the opportunity here to let our kids kind of do their own thing, be the satellites that they are, and be involved with their different interests and friends. Or we can bring this together. We can literally quote unquote band together and make something of this and invest together to do this. And so that, I think, was the turning point for us to think, we're not going to make this a kid thing. We're going to make this a family thing.
And what I love about what you just said is that, we're not going to make this a kid thing. We're going to make this a family thing. You also didn't say we're going to make this a famous thing.
No.
Like you guys investing in us. It was never for yourselves.
No.
Or living vicariously through us.
No. And I think that one of the things that I always wanted us to do, and Dad was like 100% about this, is everything that we do. I mean, we did some fun things. We played at Six Flags. And we got free rides. There was fun stuff. But we went to Six Flags and we sang positive music.
Yeah.
We spoke a message from the stage to people that were there to have fun, but they also heard something positive and they walked away thinking about something that maybe was a seed planted in their heart. But our goal was that through this, that you guys could learn that there was something bigger than you. And high school doesn't have to be just about you.
Yes.
No. Or college or anything after that.
It really takes, this whole experience really takes you out of the bubble.
It does.
That is your community, that is your high school, that is your college, and put you on the road.
And you see so many different stories. You see so many different people that have made different life choices. And, it for me, starting the band at 7 years old, this is Sierra, the youngest, I got to learn from other people before I even was presented with choices that I had to make as a middle schooler and high schooler. I got to hear the testimonies of people who were broken and came back to Christ, before I was even presented with that temptation, and so it was really eye-opening, like you said, to see the world at a much bigger view than myself.
An earlier age.
At an early age.
Yeah, and especially you, Sierra. I love the fact that Sierra especially grew into this. You guys, Mariah and Brittany, you guys started it together. And it started as Mariah the drummer and Brittany the piano player, and you guys would harmonize and you would sing. Sierra was with me, and we were running the merchandise table in the back, and she was helping Dad unload the truck and then the trailer and then, on the bus or whatever it became. And she grew into the ministry. And the beautiful part of it was everybody stayed together. Nobody ever decided I don't want to do that. We all stayed focused and we all stayed on the same page. And
really, I want to just take a moment and attribute that to you, because I've just been thinking as you've been speaking that, even today, to be an example, if this ministry were run by just the sisters, nothing would have happened.
We quit every day.
We would quit that in a heartbeat. But having our parents there to continue, especially at our ages, college, high school, and younger, to continue to guide our decisions, our discussions, and our hearts while we were on the road and meeting with people, and just keeping us focused that it's not about you. We're here to play for even just one person. Christ would die for one. You play for one. We don't know who's going to be there tonight. You are constantly there redirecting and helping to shape and to mold. So it really, when you think about the unique situation that our family is today, how close we are, how we choose to be close, we choose to live close and do life together, it really also goes back to this whole ministry experience of what we did, because not only were we doing music and it's beautiful and it's arts and it's sustaining us in 2020, it's the fact that we stayed on the road and we had so much guidance and counseling from you guys constantly. Yeah. And we are rooted by Christ, and that was in those experiences, and it just continues today. Like something beautiful blossomed from our band, our family ministry. And we realized that we do life well together because we all, have the same passions, not for music, but for the Lord.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really important. I had one of your mutual friends recently had asked me, how can I raise my 3 kids to be like your kids were?
Well, you have to get a drum set.
And that's basically what I said. I said, you know what?
And a custom-made paddle.
You have, I said, I said, start a band.
Yeah.
Basically, I mean, it's kind of what it comes down to is, I think what the secret sauce was for our family was we had a shared passion.
Yeah.
Dad and I we joined hands and we said, we're going to invest in our kids now, and we're going to do this, and we're going to make this about all of us, not just what the kids want to do next weekend or what sport they want to play. I mean, those things are important, but we all do things that we enjoy, but at a point we have to do something that's not self-serving.
Yes.
And I think that was what made the difference for us, is we were all on a mission together to do something that was not about us. It might have been fun for us and we might have enjoyed it, but it was not always about us.
Mm-hmm.
And so moving from 2002 to 2012, when we were getting married and stuff, some of the lessons that we learned was, that it wasn't about us, right? And so we moved into this, we moved from kind of one painful season to the next. We started in a painful season for the nation, and then we ended up, as Beyond the Veil, having to split in 2012. And by split, I mean literally our entire family went to different states.
Well, kids grow up, right?
Grow up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kids grew up, the dog died. And all the same day that we were moving.
R.I.P. Jasmine.
It was pretty sad.
No, that was it. I mean, you guys, all in 1 week, everybody moved away, and our little mascot,
Jasmine.
went to cross the Rainbow Bridge. So, yeah, it was a hard time. And
Freedom!
Yes, I'm sure it was freedom for her.
Yeah.
Poor thing.
Yes.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was 16, so she had a good life. But she used to travel with us, and she was our little buddy. But yeah, that was one of the things. I mean, just because you're all together and you decide to do something fun together and be on a mission and serve Christ, is it easy? No.
No, and,
It's not.
and I will say, having learned those lessons, that you would play for one.
Yeah.
And it's not easy, and these things are hard, and that yes, when you do one concert, they're not going to rush you for a record contract.
No.
Learning those lessons over and over again help prepare us for the real world, and knowing that when we separated as a family, that the first person that we would meet is not going to necessarily want to be our friend, that the church that we're attending is going to want a little bit more commitment, and these kind of things that these lessons that we learned through being on the road and knowing that how people work.
Yeah.
Well, had helped me specifically, and understanding how the world worked, knowing that I had my family going through all of these lessons, and then being able to experience that on my own was eye-opening. But I was like, I felt this before.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't just the fact that Mom and Dad raised us in an environment where we were pursuing ministry together, and constantly instilling lessons in us and doing it as a family, but you also gave us the freedom as individuals to make the choice to go and pursue something else. And that is what happened in 2012 when we all decided to get married. Or for me, I went off to college, and I was the only one that actually went and attended a physical university for the freshman year. And you allowed us to make the decision to pursue different things that God had placed on our hearts. For Mariah, it was meteorology. For me, I wanted to study political science and history. And for Brittany, what did you do?
I've always been in the arts.
Brittany has always been in the arts. But, she got married and moved to Houston and to follow her husband. And so you gave us that freedom to walk away.
Yes, and you know why? Because you guys walked on different roads.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had different roads to walk on. And that was when we had to realize that, we're not always going to be on the same road.
And we needed a name change.
So,
Definitely.
even though you're not on the same road, doesn't still mean that you're not still singing in the same song, okay? We were always going to be a family. And we made a conscious choice to stay a band. We could have broke up.
Just
Bands-
stopped writing music, stopped
Bands break
writing
up every day,
lyrics.
right?
Yeah, you just say, okay,
Yeah.
that was the end. That was fun.
But we didn't do that. We said no. We're gonna stick this out, even though we're apart. And so that's when we decided we needed to change our name.
And so we were apart. So that was 2012 when we were all kind of off getting married. Sierra went off to college. What did we do between 2012 and 2018 to kind of keep music and
That's
things
where I
going?
want to bring Daddy in, because there was a lot of changes going on, and Daddy always had this this motto, like, we need to, keep the peace, and we need to be a family of love. And Daddy, you wanna say anything about just kind of as our families were changing, and as we experienced some dramatic and some traumatic, this just heavy family dynamics changing. What was something that you said to us constantly to keep us together? Not just as a band, but as a family.
So one of the things I used to say in the family is always speak to each other in love and kindness and respect. These are the areas where I wanted my girls to focus on, not just as a family, but with their new husband. This is something that I wanted them to know that they need to practice and see each other, that they are focusing on love and kindness and not to speak in anger towards one another. But Sierra was off in college, and my two older daughters just got married. And this is a new part in my life too, where now I have two other young men in my life that are teaching me how to be a father-in-law. I didn't have to raise them, but they came into my life as a blessing. And I've experienced son-in-laws, which I never had before. And this is...
Or sons.
Yeah, sons. This is truly a blessing, and it's helping me to understand how my daughters can love and honor another man other than myself. I might have been their first love, but now they have the true love.
But we'll love you forever.
Yeah, nobody can replace Daddy. Dad came over my house last night and helped me.
Yeah, I was the first, but now you have your true love, and just seeing them love on you guys is a blessing to me.
Yeah.
And they better watch themselves.
They're doing a great job.
They're doing an excellent job.
Yep.
So mostly, you girls come back and you talk to me, and I say, just say it in love. If you can't say it in love, back off, cool down. Give God some space to move in your life, in your mind, some quiet time. It's that quiet time that you hear that small, still voice in this busy world that we live in. And that's when you can focus on how to speak to each other as sisters, and how to speak to your husbands, and what I've learned to always speak to my wife in love.
And how to be a better friend.
Yes.
And so, because of that, that's kind of the glue that held us together.
Yeah.
During these times where we went on different roads, the fact that...
Because there was tension. I mean, we were pulling in all kinds of different directions. I'm up in Minnesota at one point. You guys were all down here in Texas.
You're working at 2 a.m.
We were warm in Texas, and she was freezing for 8 months.
Oh my gosh. Yes. No. And before Minnesota, it was Ohio. And I had a career, and you guys were still down here writing songs and kind of booking shows. At one point, we did the House of Blues down in Houston. And so, it's like, I got to stop what I'm doing in Ohio, come down here, play songs that I haven't played in years, and, and keep things going. So, yeah, there's some tension. It could get difficult, but we, like Daddy always said, walked in love, responded in love, and we continue to do things together. And it got a lot easier in 2018 when I got pregnant with my third, and I said, that's it. We're going to Texas. And then we all ended up in the same state again. It was a miracle.
Yeah.
And, even...
Sierra was behind you.
By the grace of God, I went to college when I was 17, and I'd spent a year there, and then I was like, I'm out of here. So I just felt the Lord calling me back to ministry and working with Brittany. And I remember having a conversation with Mom on the phone, and I just felt like I was living in a bubble, and I just wanted more, because I had grown up my whole life experiencing different cities and different
People.
states, different people. And I was locked on this campus because, first of all, I didn't have a driver's license. Second of all, I didn't have a car to even drive if I had a driver's license. And I was just stuck. And so I wanted to come back to Texas. I remember saying, I wanted to be an aunt to Brittany, Brittany's firstborn, Cora, who she was given birth to in 2013. And I missed my family, and I came back, and, I found an opportunity to get involved in political arena in Texas. And so I worked full-time, and I went to school full-time online through Regent University, and worked with Brittany when we would see each other, because we only lived 4 hours away. And so Brittany and I were staying connected with things we can do. And so and then Mariah was over there.
I'm over there. That's what I always do. I'm just over there.
And then I got married, and that kind of threw a wrench in things because I got married to a military officer. And so, but by the grace of God, like I said, he kept us close. We could have been stationed anywhere, literally in the world. And he kept us at Fort Hood, Texas, 2.5 hours away from Dallas, and then Fort Sill, Oklahoma, 2.5 hours away from Dallas.
Yes.
And it's just incredible, the grace that he gave us, and it was obvious that this is where he wanted us to be.
Yes, and that
we
opportunity.
are all together again.
Yes.
But that opportunity that you had, being that close, gave us the opportunity to still record some music. Now, we haven't put out huge volumes of music in the last few years, but we have done singles. We've done Christmas music.
And just for the record, again, as I say every podcast, that Echo was supposed to be a EP, and because of COVID.
No, but we have music written.
Yes.
It is waiting in the wings to be recorded.
And
it
there's
will
a
come.
studio being built
There-
this day.
There is a
Yes.
studio
and
being
it
built.
will be finished
Daddy.
soon.
Yes.
Where
this
she-
is
It's Daddy. Daddy does everything.
Yes,
No,
Daddy
the sound
helps me.
engineer has saved the day.
Okay, here's a quote of the day. Is Daddy said, "When you dream, I work."
Yes. Well,
and so anytime
that's Brittany.
any of us dream, Daddy works.
Mostly Brittany.
I work. I work a lot. I
Yes.
do a lot.
But
Yes.
let me just clarify what's going on here. In the year 2020, things have been very difficult to do. Anything, everything.
Yeah.
One of them is recording music. So we had this plan for us to record all the music for Echo. We have all the music written. We have all the music composed. We just need to record it, produce it, and distribute it for all of you guys. But we were not able to do that because, like everything else, record studios and recording studios closed down.
Mm-hmm.
So we have decided to overcome that obstacle, and Dad is building Brittany her own music studio.
Magic of Dad
Yes.
changes closets.
Yes. He's converting a closet into something beautiful.
A fantastically large closet.
Yeah.
Yes. And a beautiful studio with all the technology that is available today. So the music that everything was promised before this time for 2020 will be coming in 2021, because 2020 did not stop us. We are still going on. We're still moving forward. Tomorrow's a new day, as they say.
Absolutely.
So we are going
Amen.
to attack 2021 with full force.
So, as part of the Wills and Ways series, Brittany was inspired by a quote from one of her favorite authors. I'd like you to read that quote as we finish up this podcast now, just to put us all on the same page again.
Yes. So C.S. Lewis.
Again.
Again. I know.
Who's C.S. Lewis?
I know.
Who is he?
All right, guys. Okay. I
Brief
get
synopsis.
it. I get it.
No, I mean seriously. For our listeners.
C.S. Lewis is a great author, and he writes. This has inspired the 3 previous interviews for Wills and Ways.
Chronicles of Narnia.
He wrote Chronicles of Narnia, but he also wrote many other things. He's inspired the last 3 interviews because I loved one of his quotes, which was, "Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art, like the universe itself. For God did not need to create. It has no survival value. Rather, it's one of those things which give value to survival."
Mm-hmm.
Where there's a will, there's a way to survive. Where you have a will, what is their will to survive? There's so many people, so many businesses that aren't quote unquote deemed essential, that have paid the so much to give inspiration and encouragement to those who are essential. You think about those playing on rooftops. How many doctors were inspired by by that? How many questions and pushes in philosophy gave somebody an understanding and another step toward another day in 2020 to be like, I need to figure this thing out, because it seems really dull right now. It seems really alone right now, but I know that there's got to be a greater purpose. And so I wanted Wills and Ways to resonate with that and bring C.S. Lewis into it.
Yeah.
And that quote, that friendship, that community. I mean, that's one thing that 2020 gave us is each other.
Yeah. And Lewis says it's unnecessary, but it's one of those things that adds value to survival. Because I liked how he said, and I want to tie this back to our family, since this is our Back to the Future podcast. We're thinking about everything we've done in these past 20 years.
That brought us all here in this same city.
Yeah. So Lewis says, friendship's unnecessary, art, and the universe itself. God didn't need to create it, but it gave value to survival. So looking at our family, the things that gave value and give value to us are the fact that we are each other's best friends, and we all share the same passion for music. So Lewis talks about art. I'm going to say music and interchange that. And so it's just incredible to see just the insight that he has play out physically in our lives. What gave us value this year? What was the most valuable thing that we had? It was our friendship as a family. It was our passion for music. It was those things that helped sustain us through this year. And so for our listeners, I like how my mom said it. Hindsight is 2020. Get some hindsight. Look back on this year. Think about what sustained you. And if it's something you're proud of, you're not so proud of, that's, let's start talking about resolutions for 2021. But I love that it's retrospective. Think about 2020 and think about what gave value to your survival in this year. Was it a person? Was it a friendship? Was it a passion? And I just appreciate the fact that we had this podcast to talk about it, and hopefully it gave you guys some insight as well.
I think one thing I'd like to say is at the end here is everybody talks about what is essential. People that are essential.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Yeah. Everybody is essential. And if you don't feel like you're essential, make yourself essential.
To someone, yeah.
You can always become essential to somebody. And I think that ties back to what we were talking about with the whole thing with the band is what we tried to do was just make ourselves essential, do something that was beyond ourselves. If you want to give value to your survival every day when you wake up, to make waking up worth it,
go beyond yourself
and be essential.
Amen. Well, with that, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll close in a word of prayer. Daddy, can you close us in prayer tonight?
Sure. Heavenly Father, thank you for another evening of honoring you, and thank you for the people that are listening tonight, Lord. May we just spend this time, just touch their hearts and just be a positive influence in their lives, and may they find a joy and love and fellowship in knowing Christ as their personal Savior. Thank you for this family as it grows and expands. May we focus on lifting Jesus higher so all men, women may be drawn to Him. Father, we ask that you bless every hearer tonight. We ask that you comfort them, give them strength to overcome any obstacle in their lives. We just pray right now and agree that your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We honor you in words and deed. We just give you the praise and glory. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you guys again for tuning in to Path and Posture and for joining us on the Wills and Ways series. If you want to learn more about our family, you can always pick up our book, Echo, Reaching for Authenticity. You can find that where again, Brittany?
HarmonyRoads.com.
Okay, great. Thank you.
As we changed our name from Beyond the Veil.
Yes. I like the whole Back to the Future thing on this one.
I know you do. It's your favorite.
It's my favorite movie of all time, but then people can learn that we had a different name. Different
Yes,
alias.
and there is actually a playlist from our previous songs Beyond the Veil that you can find on our Spotify.
Yeah.
So,
but we're known now as Harmony Roads.
mhm.
And we also want to thank GP66 for sponsoring this podcast.
Yes, as I did spill a beverage during this podcast that cleaned it up.
We talk about miracles and
Rapidly.
They're the miracle cleaner.
GP66.com.
And I'm cleaning up in about a minute.
Dad's cleaning the background.
Jesus, I fell again today. Nothing seems to be going my way. I tried so hard, I keep falling. Struggling makes me so weak. It's hard to breathe, can barely speak. I want to quit, but you keep calling. Knowing you want me, seeing you use me, sensing you need me, makes it all worthwhile. Lord, give me wings, and with those wings I'll fly. 'Cause I'm tired of just looking at the sky. I know that you hear my every cry. Help me fly.